What's up, Facebook family? Pastor Batson here with a word for the world in times like these. Listen, I don't know about you, but I know that we're facing some difficult days. And I know that sometimes these days can be frustrating. But can I just tell you something, that I've got a word for us today. And this word today is this word called determination. This word determination has several definitions. I'll give you a couple of them, but there's one or two that I like in particular. This one that says firmness of purpose or resoluteness. That's one way to define determination. But check this one out. There's also one that says it's a positive emotional feeling that involves persevering towards a difficult goal in spite of the obstacles. And I really like that one because, hey, what's going on, Clarence and Steph? And I really like that one. That is what we really talk about. That's real determination, that it is a positive. It's an emotional feeling. It's a gut thing. It is an inner determination that you're going to reach towards something in spite of obstacles. But can I tell you one more thing about determination? It occurs prior to the goal attainment. In other words, determination has to be there before you actually reach your goal. And so watch this, because what happens, determination is the thing that serves as the motivation to behavior that's going to help you get there. There is a scripture that I want to lift up, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 8 and 9. If I can just share that with you real quick. It says, we're hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. If ever there's a picture of determination, it is that scripture. It is here where Paul is talking about his personal experiences, how he has personally gone through several things, but then as much as he has been persecuted, as much as life has come for him, he said, but every time life came, he said, something in me rose up. And so I'll get it to you. So he talked about, I'm being hard pressed on every side. You know what? Yet not crushed. Can I just tell you something, church? We need to know you are stronger than you think you are. All of us, especially in times like these, are hard pressed, especially right now. We are being pressed on every side from every direction. Life can be frustrating. Life can be, you can feel the pressure of times like these, the pressure of questions like, what am I going to do next? The pressure of what does my future hold? The pressure of how am I going to take care of these kids? The pressure of how am I going to take care of my bills and how am I going to live? How will I have my day to day? The pressures of where can I get some toilet paper? The pressures of, are they going to be out of food again? All of these are pressures that keep us hard pressed on every single side. But the good news of it is that we serve a God that is hard pressed as we are. He said, I ain't going to let you be crushed. He said, you may be hard pressed. He says, but you won't be crushed. He says, then watch, it says, you may be perplexed, but not in despair. That word perplexed means baffled. It means to be very puzzled. But why then are we puzzled, but not in despair? Because that word despair means that we have lost hope. It means it's a complete loss of hope. In other words, we may be confused with the times, but the good news is because the God we serve, y'all, he makes sure that we don't have a complete loss of hope. Why then? How is it that we're confused in this day and age, but we don't lose hope? Why? Because our hope is not in the stuff that we have. Our hope is not in the car that we drive. Our hope is not even in the food that we eat. We need that food. We need food. We need water. We need a house. We got to pay. We need all of that stuff, but our hope is not in it. Our hope rests solely on the person of Jesus Christ, and our hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and his righteousness. I dare not trust. Y'all ain't gonna say nothing. Listen, I'm trying to tell you, we can be perplexed, but not in despair. But then it says we're persecuted, but not abandoned. That means the word persecuted means we are subject to hostility. We're persecuted, but not abandoned. In other words, we may be persecuted and it can be hostile in these times, but we're not alone. We're #alone together. I love those commercials that have been running. They're just a reminder that it may feel like you're alone, but we're alone together. In fact, Jesus, when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, and it's an appropriate time to talk about this because Jesus was on his way to Calvary. He stopped by the Garden of Gethsemane and he asked his disciples, he said, y'all hang out and pray with your boy for just an hour. He said, can y'all just hang out and just pray with me for an hour? And keep them jokers went to sleep on him, not once, I mean, they kept going to sleep on him. And he said, man, forget it. Y'all get up. In other words, he was, watch this, he was in the garden. He was surrounded by people, but he was alone. But here's the good news is that sometimes in your house, sometimes in your marriage, sometimes in your friendships, you can have people around you, but still be alone. But watch this. Jesus says, as long as you got me, you may be alone, but we're alone together. In other words, God says, I will never leave you, nor will I will forsake you. He says, I got your back. And so he said, we're persecuted sometimes. He says, but I'm never going to leave you alone. I will never leave you alone. I don't care how bad it seems. I don't care who else runs out. He says, in this time of persecution, he says, I will never abandon you. But then he says, you are struck down, but not destroyed. You're struck down, but we're not destroyed. Remember this, life may knock us down, but life can't keep us down. I remember coming up, I had this thing called a Weeble Wobble. A Weeble Wobble was one of those things. I had a G.I. Joe Weeble Wobble. They made them with Bozo the Clown as well. But my G.I. Joe Weeble Wobble is one of those things that you could punch. And it's kind of weighted at the bottom. It has like this sand at the bottom. And it has like a blown up, like kind of like a bubble toy that you could punch. And I don't care how hard you punch it, you could throw it up in the air. It would come down. It would lean to the back. It would rock, but it would always stand back up. It was called a Weeble Wobble. Can I just tell you something? That's what our faith does for us. We have Weeble Wobble faith, not wobbly faith, but Weeble Wobble faith. In other words, when life knocks us down, we don't have to lose hope because God will, in his Weeble Wobble faith, will stand us back up again. I wish I had a witness in this place. You have to understand that when life right now, life is throwing punches. Right now, life is knocking us down. Right now, life is hard pressing us. Right now, life has us perplexed. Right now, life is persecuting us. Right now, life is trying to strike us down. But the good news about life is that even though life may knock us down, we got a Weeble Wobble God who will stand up in us and give us strength that we didn't even know that we had, strength that we didn't even know that we needed. We serve a God who, I don't care how life may knock you down, God will raise you back up again, because that's the kind of God we serve. Listen, I can't tell you how he does it. I don't know why he does it. It's not because we deserve it. It's not because we're worthy. It's not because of our own actions. It's just that we serve such a loving God. We serve such a compassionate God that he sees us right where we are. So that's why we are all #alone together. God will never forsake us. So stand firm, doing all that you need to do, knowing that we have a Weeble Wobble faith, not a wobbly faith, but a Weeble Wobble faith, that when life knocks us down, something on the inside of us will help us to stand back up again. I don't care how life knocks you down. Just remember, in this day and age, you may be knocked down, but you ain't out. God will stand you back up again. Until next time, I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. Peace.